We begin with breaking news. Straight from Australia, leaders around the world are expressing their horror at Sunday's terrorist attack on Bondi Beach, in which several people were killed, in fact 15. The Australian government is currently investigating the entire matter. There are harsh words coming in for the Australian government, though, for the shortcomings that are now being cited in tackling anti-Semitism over the past 2 years. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he had written to his Australian counterpart, Anthony Albanese, in August, warning that the government's decision to recognize the Palestinian state, and I quote, pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. He further claimed that his Australian counterpart had replaced weakness with weakness and appeasement with more appeasement. We've got reactions lined up for you from the Australian Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister, and the US President. Listen.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations, and it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening. This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration, and the Jewish community are hurting today. Today all Australians wrap our arms around them and say we stand with you.
ענק, כמו רני גבילי, שפשוט נלחם עד הכדור האחרון. גם היום מנסים לרצוח, ולצערנו גם היום הצליחו לרצוח יהודים, טבחו ביהודים בסידני שבאוסטרליה. אני כתבתי לפני 4 חודשים מכתב לראש ממשלת אוסטרליה, ואמרתי לו, המדיניות שלך מעודדת טרור, היא מעודדת אנטישמיות. אתה קורא למדינה פלסטינית, ואתה נותן בעצם פרס לחמאס על הטבח הנורא שהם ביצעו בנו ב7 באוקטובר. אני לא שוכח את זה.
The people, unfortunately, 2 are no longer with us. Brown University, 9 injured, and 2 are looking down on us right now from heaven. And likewise in Australia, as you know, that was a terrible attack. It was a rough day, but to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well, we have a great relationship. That's a terrible situation going on over there. Think of that. And Brown University, great school, great, really one of the greatest schools anywhere in the world. Things can happen. I pay my deepest regards and respects from the United States of America.
Joining us with the latest details coming in, Managing Editor of Australia Today, live from Sydney at the moment, Jay Bhardwaj. Mr. Bhardwaj, as always, thanks so much for your time. What are the latest details coming in? We've heard the Israeli Prime Minister claiming that the Australian government let the disease of anti-Semitism spread. What are the latest reactions also?
Sir, see, the mood is very somber right now in Sydney and the whole of Australia. Communities are trying to understand how this has happened. But in terms of the administrative failures, if we could call that, this Bondi gunman, Naveed Akram, he was known to authorities. He was known to ASIO, the investigative agency which we have in Australia. And he was also kind of examined for his links to Islamic State in 2019. And despite that, his father was owning 6 guns as license. That is really befalling to everybody who is seeing watching this and trying to understand how this has unfolded. A person whose son is a suspect who has been inquired for his links to Islamic State, still he holds 6 gun licenses. Nobody's guess is that police should have done something, ASIO should have done something. And right now, everyone is asking questions from the government, how from 7th October, 2 years back, today we are seeing on 14th December, we have a mass shooting in Sydney itself. There were calls which police dismissed earlier last year that when the calls were gas Jews were chanted at on the streets of Sydney, police dismissed them. When the synagogue was firebombed, police dismissed them. When there was attacks on Jews leader, police dismissed them. And now when we see that 14 people have been killed, it's right in front of us. Somebody has to take responsibility. The Prime Minister says that we are wrapping our arms around Jewish community, but I don't think that's enough. There has to be a decisive action.
Just for the benefit of our viewers, the police have killed the 50-year-old father at the scene, while the 24-year-old son is said to be in a critical condition, but stable, authorities have confirmed. As per preliminary investigations, though, Mr. Bhardwaj, are investigators saying anything about the motive of this attack? And also, speaking of guns, it's given to understand that Australia still doesn't have a unified mechanism for tracking firearms across jurisdictions?
Yes, that is correct. However, there is a register, there is a process for owning a licensed firearm here in Australia. And police, the authorities who drive the license, they come and check you have secure facilities. So it's not possible that ASIO didn't know that these man, his father's name has also been revealed, that is Sajid Akram and this Naveed Akram. They had firearms that was known to ASIO, that was known to New South Wales Police. But despite that, no action, further action was taken, or these licenses were withdrawn. The police commissioner this morning said that he has full rights to have the license. He has been having them for last 10 years and no incident has happened by then. But in 2019, his son was kind of checked by domestic intelligence agency for links to ISIS. That should be an alarm bell for agencies,
right.
But it didn't happen.